truthers, welcome back. So before I get started, I just want to say happy Father's Day to all you beautiful fathers out there. You are appreciated. You are loved. Keep showing up. Keep being present. Keep being dope as fuck. The children need you, and so do their mothers. Now, this episode is going to be about one of the major life lessons that really kicked my ass. First, I'll start it off with a little bit of poetry that I wrote regarding this subject. I no longer needed him to be the reason I smiled. Finding happiness within took a while. Now I finally understand that my happiness never did reside in the hands of a man, but in the heart of the goddess that I am. It's so wild to me that when I got ready to record this episode, and as soon as I started speaking, my freaking throat chakra started tweaking. Like, my throat, I almost legit did not get through reading that little poem. My throat was like coughed now. It was all itchy, weird feeling, and I'm like, what is happening? Maybe it's purging with me expressing this to the world. Who knows? Anywho, so that was a poem I wrote a few years ago when I finally understood the assignment, as they would say. Like, I finally learned the fucking lesson. Like, yo, nobody is responsible for my happiness but me. And up until that point, I had been putting my happiness in other people's hands. And it was to the point to, I used to demand that they make me happy. And it's wild when I think about it, because I used to give them so much power to have that control over how I felt, not realizing that it was me who made that choice. And so this poem is connected to a chapter in my life where I would say maybe back in 2013, I was going through some shit mentally in my mind, and I wasn't really feeling life like that. Like, I felt depressed, I felt alone, and this man came along. So in 2013, before I started, I was 23. And so this man came along, and he made me laugh. And I felt like, he brought me this sense of peace or this sense of happiness. And he was legit like the light at the end of the tunnel, as I would call it, right? Because I couldn't find that light myself. Like, I struggled to see the light. It is so interesting to me that as I get ready to record this episode, right, little things start popping up. As y'all heard baby girl cry out, she was sleeping, but she did a little cry out, and I started to edit that part out, delete it. Then I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? You see, it's a little lesson in this too, because sometimes we'll stop doing something and my throat chakra is back at it again, or we won't do something because we feel like the signs are telling us not to, and we'll say, oh, well, spirit was giving me signs to not do this. Now, I could take my throat chakra being scratchy and me coughing and it acting crazy while I'm trying to record as a sign. I could tell myself oh yeah, that means I shouldn't record this. I could take my daughter being, a baby and whining or, crying a little bit while she sleeps, to get readjusted and need to be a little bit of, nurturing and soothing. I could take that as a sign and be like, oh, okay, well, Spirit's telling me not to. But that's crazy because I would have never had the urge to record this at all if I wasn't supposed to. And so the point that I'm making here is have discernment. Be mindful of what you tell yourself is a sign from the universe or God, Spirit, the Most High, the Creator, whoever you believe in and however you call it. Because a lot of times things pop up as simple distractions, and they can be tests to see if you're still gonna put your message out there, if you're still gonna push through, if you're still gonna do what you were meant to do, if you're gonna be obedient, if you're gonna show up regardless of what may seem to be an obstacle, right? And so, like I said, I feel like this is a moment of purging where energy is being released, because I don't really think I've ever talked about any of this publicly. And so it's like the energy is like, yo, what's happening? We was chilling in this little box, undisturbed, skeletons in the closet, and now she's shining light on us. I shine bright like a diamond. Yeah, she's shining the light on us. Well, let's make her uncomfortable so she closes the door back, so the light goes away and we stay in the darkness. Nah, not happening. So I'm trying to remember where I left off at. Basically, what I was saying was that, I had an individual that came into my life that brought what I considered happiness into my life, right? And it got to a point to where I became dependent on him being my happiness. So it was kind of like him being a human drug. That's what I would call him, right? Because whenever I felt sad, whenever I felt bored, whenever I felt anything that just felt uncomfortable, like I didn't really want to feel my emotions, then I would lean on him for that extra oomph of happiness. And so it was kind of like popping a pill, just in human form, to the point to where if he would take his medicine away from me, I would get upset. I would get mad at him. I would start a fight, some toxic shit, right? Because it was like, how dare you? How dare you take away my only source of happiness? How dare you not make me happy? How dare you not give me what I want? It was crazy, man. Yeah. My early 20s was interesting. And so I was like unhealthily attached to this being, and the codependency was real. It was a huge lesson learned. I entertained, allowed, tolerated, put up with, loved on this individual for a good 6 years. Whole bunch of lessons came from this relationship or situationship, whatever title you want to give it, because that's a story for another day. So, and through it all though, at the end I realized, once I learned the lesson, that I had given him too much power, and that I was the only one that could truly make me happy. And it was this understanding that people can add to our happiness, but at no given point should we allow them to take away our joy, nor should we depend upon them to be the main source of our joy, because we are that main source. And if we cannot find the happiness within ourselves first, then no one else can really truly, quote unquote, make us happy. It's like trying to make someone love you. Like, it's just impossible, because if you're not happy, just think about it. If you're not happy with them, the person that's trying to make you happy, their fucking cup is going to run dry because they're constantly trying to pour into you, or they're constantly pouring into you to make you happy. But the void that they're attempting to fill is like a black hole. And it's just constant pouring, constant giving. You're never truly satisfied because you haven't given it to yourself. And that's truly what that void is wanting. It's wanting for you to fill it, not for it to be filled by someone else. And so that other person eventually becomes drained as fuck until they be like, yo, fuck this. And then they take away the source of happiness that they was giving you, and now shit hits the fan. Because you feel entitled to the happiness that they was giving you at one point. It can be a truly vicious cycle, honestly, especially if you're unaware of it. And at that time, I was unaware of it. I was just, at a place. I was in a whole different mindset back then. And I saw love differently. I saw relationships differently. I was on a whole different awareness level. And it's not to say that, to, I guess, label it as good or bad, because we kind of put the value on things. It was just a time in my life where it was like, yo, you're going to get this lesson one way or another. And, I decided to let myself get doped up on someone. And they took me on a roller coaster ride. Or should I say I allowed myself to be on a roller coaster ride, right? Gotta take that accountability for the choice that I made. For the person that I allowed in my life. And honestly, I don't have any regrets because shit happens for a reason. Like, everything has a purpose, right? And we learn our lessons so that we can grow, become a better person, and then share that wisdom with the world. So, no, I don't live my life with regrets. I don't look back on that time and be like, man, that was a waste of my 6 years or whatever. Like, nah, it ain't even like that. I'm grateful for the experience because it taught me so much about myself. Like, man, when I walked away from this relationship, like, it taught me so much. And I actually have an episode on here. I can't remember the title of it at this moment. I think it was like Cosmic Confessions or something, like walking away from a 6-year relationship. I think it's something along those lines where I talk about all this. So I'm not going to do a repeat and go deep into it. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of context of where that poem stemmed from, and, a little story behind it. And that's pretty much, where this, I guess, release is coming from in this moment. And I've released this energy. I'm content and peaceful as I talk about this. But like I said, I've never really just put it all out there. But I was laying here and I just had the urge to record. And I came across this post earlier because I made a post about this. And it just really just pinged, the light bulb went off in my mind. And it was make this an episode. So to me, that says somebody somewhere needs to hear it. That they create their own happiness. Right? If you take the word rich and you break it down, right? It's realizing I create happiness. Rich. That's the way I see that word. Once you get that realization, you don't ever give anyone that power anymore. And you become aware of who you are allowing to add to your happiness and who you are allowing to take away from your happiness. If you're even allowing that, because that's a whole nother level too, to remain unbothered and to not allow someone to come into your life and knock you off your balance rocks or to shift your mood, or to disturb yet inner peace. That's a whole different level within itself. It's a whole different level of awareness, mastery. You know what I mean? So my voice is doing the thing again, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna keep pushing. So if it sounds a little off, that's why. And we're just gonna get through it. I have a question for y'all. It's funny, as I saw my baby girl did too. Okay, I have a question for y'all though. How do you view happiness? What is your definition of it? What do you see when you think about the word happiness? If I was to tell you to do like a quick meditation right now, and you close your eyes, do some deep breaths and just relax and visualize the word happiness, what do you see? What does it look like? What kind of font is it in? Is it big letters? Is it small letters? How close is it to you? How far away is it from you? Is it something attached to the letters? Are the letters attached to you? Are there cords coming up from it? What color are the letters? Are they any color at all? Are the letters made of a certain material? Like, what does it look like? Do you see faces? Do you see people? Do you see names? Do you see numbers? Is there something surrounding this word? What's the scenery like? Where are you? How do you feel looking at the word happiness? Staring at it face to face, how does it make you feel? Does it take you back to a memory or memories? Does it make you cry? Does it bring up a different emotion inside? Are you even struggling to connect with this word? Just do that exercise when you have a moment and see how the word happiness presents itself to you subconsciously. And it'll give you some clues on the way in which you view it and how you feel about it. So go ahead and take that deep dive and enjoy. So, realizing I create my own happiness, definitely one of my biggest lessons in life. And like I said, I'm very grateful for it. I'm at a point to where I don't need anyone to make me happy. I don't have that as a requirement or expectation. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I am open to people adding to my happiness, right? Adding to my joy. Pouring into me. Yeah, of course, I'm open to that. Grateful for that. We can be joyous together. We can be happy together, pouring into each other. Like, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? Definitely here for that kind of energy. But I don't have this expectation, nor do I get in relationships or look for friendships or whatever you want to call it, just to have someone make me happy. I don't do that anymore. I don't walk around with this wound or this gaping hole inside of me, like searching for happiness. Like, what the hell is happiness? How do I find it? How do I feel it? How do I achieve it? How do I reach it? Why does this seem foreign to me? Those are some of the ways that I used to feel, man. And it's like, when I think about back in the day, it's just like, wow, like, damn, I came a long way. Such a long way. So I want to read like a reflection that I had when it comes to happiness. So realizing I create my own happiness. There was a time I thought I needed a man in order to experience true happiness, not realizing that no man could ever provide me with what I needed most, the love of self. And from loving myself, happiness now have permission to blossom and flourish within me. It's not anyone else's responsibility to make or keep you happy. The moment you place your happiness in someone else's hands is the moment you give your power away. When you use people to numb your pain, to distract you from the shit you don't want to face, to fill the voids that only you, yourself, have the power to fill, you set yourself up for disappointment and heartache. They don't break your heart, you do. The moment you decided to place it in the hands of someone who wasn't worthy of it, therefore your heart was never safe in your own damn hands. And if you can't take care of your own heart, how do you expect someone else to do what you can't, don't, won't do for self? I wrote this around the same time that I wrote that short poem. It's kind of what I got from that. There's another poem that's popping up in my head that deals with this situation that I may read for y'all as well, because I'm feeling it. It's showing itself to me. And you know what? Fuck it, why not? So before I get into the poem, I found a journal entry I want to read to y'all. It's pretty dope. I forgot all about this stuff. So me rereading it now, it's just wow. So here it goes. I'm just speaking my truth. You were a chapter in my story. And it may not have been a pretty one, but it was a much needed one in order for me to grow and evolve. I can see now the things I couldn't see before. The person you have wrapped around your finger, I'm no longer her. So you can get it. You can get in your feelings and you can voice your opinion of how you think I have a small mind. The truth of the matter is, I no longer crave your acceptance. I no longer look to you for my happiness. I no longer allow you to fuck with my mind, nor do I question my self-worth because of you. You were once my human drug, literally. You kept me high on the days I wanted to escape my reality, and you ripped the band-aids off and poured salt in my wounds at the same damn time, causing me to face me head on when I have been running from myself for so long. For that, I am grateful because I have learned so much about myself and I have healed so much of me. That withdrawal process was brutal as hell, but I made it through. And in the end, I've never felt more free and more sure of me. So please know, I meant no harm in telling you that. I'm just not the same person you were once used to. You can't accept my change, and that's okay. No love lost. I love me more now than I ever have. And that, my dear, is fucking epic. Dancing to the beat of my ancestors' drums. It feels so good to be free. And that is the end of that journal entry. So, when it comes to happiness, I like to ask the question of, do you know what makes you happy? Because a lot of times people struggle to answer that. What truly makes you happy? And it's ironic because they can answer what makes other people happy. Like people they're close to, maybe their partner, family member, whoever. But when you stop and you ask them what makes you happy, it's kind of like this. They stutter a little bit. And they have to like truly think about it because it's like they don't know. And I feel like that's disrespectful to self. Because how can you make, or I would say add to someone else's happiness, but yet you're not cultivating happiness within yourself or maintaining it? We all know, and we have all heard people say happiness starts within, right? And looking for it outside of you, looking for it elsewhere, expecting someone else to provide it is basically a trap, a never-ending cycle, a toxic cycle at that, one that will hold you back, one that will have you attached, one that will have you drowning in temporary happiness, because it's temporary. And don't get me wrong, of course happiness is fleeting, it comes and goes. No one is happy all day, every single day. That's unrealistic. Of course there's other emotions that are felt. Of course there's sadness. You have to know sadness in order to experience happiness, right? So yeah, there's other emotions that come and go, just like happiness comes and go. But it's a choice on the vibration that you choose to indulge in, the vibration that you choose to be dominant within, you know? You can be happy, or you can wallow in pity and sadness and anger, whatever other emotion there is. And there's nothing wrong with honoring your emotions. However, after the emotion has came and you have acknowledged it and honored it, if in that moment you choose to hold on to it and let it fester and let it grow, instead of choosing to forgive or move on and release, and then choose to be happy or joyful or peaceful or harmonious, that's your choice. You made that choice. And now you have to deal with the energy that comes behind that. So, what truly makes you happy? And have you taken the time to figure it out? Have you taken the time to get to know yourself from the inside out? And why is it that we look for happiness everywhere else but ourselves? Is that something that was taught to us? You know, and why is happiness even taught to be like something that is a trophy or achieved, or like something we must do to other people? And of course everything starts at home. And I think as children, depending on how, you know, they grow up, it's like they get the notion of, oh, if I do this, I make my parents happy. If I do that, I make my parents happy. If I act this way, I'm considered good and I make them happy. And I think that kind of trickles down into our adult life, because now we're performing basically to make those that we love happy. We're being what people call people pleasers. And it starts at a young age and you don't even realize it. It's interesting. just know you don't need anyone to make you happy. Okay? And for some people, this may sound, or I should say feel sort of like a trigger, because some people believe that, the person they're with is supposed to make them happy. That's a strong belief for some people. And I get it. And I'm not here to tell you that your belief is wrong. I'm not. Just giving you a different perspective is all. What you believe is what you believe. And I honor that. And I give you space, However, we don't need anyone to make us happy. Nor do we need materialistic items to bring us happiness. At the end of the day, it's all temporary. And you'll still be left feeling empty or like something is missing as you try to fill that void. And as I said earlier, never give someone or something that much fucking power and control over you and your life. Once you put your hands, that's not what I wanted to say. Once you put your happiness in the hands of someone else, you're bound to be disappointed. It's only a matter of time. So, happiness comes from within. And once you find it, or once you cultivate it and maintain it and nourish it, you'll realize what the fuck you have been missing out on and how beautiful it truly is. It starts with you. Now, I do believe I was supposed to be reading out a poem. So, let's try this again. Let me find it. I started recording it like in the wee hours of the morning yesterday. Well, today. Yeah, it's still before midnight. And I didn't get a chance to finish it, so I'm attempting to do that now while baby girl sleeps. I know y'all hear her in the background making her little noises. So just bear with me. I'm going to find this poem and read it to y'all. It's a couple of them that I have in regard to the situation, but it's one in particular that's like really standing out. So let me find it, and I will share some of my, deep poetry with y'all. Some of my moments of releasing my triggers. I think it's in the series that I have called Unhealed Parts of Me, because I started that. It was like a poem series I did, and I was just releasing those parts of me that still needed some healing. So yeah, let me go look for that. Okay, so I finally found the poem, or at least one of them. And this one is called The Addiction, Part 1, Highly Medicated. Addicted to the high, your love was like a drug, my personal kryptonite. Your words were my sedative, numbing the pain I kept bottled up inside. Your dick was my dopamine, keeping my spirits high. Codependency was a side effect on this never-ending roller coaster ride. I needed you to make me happy. Your love was like a drug, satisfying my addiction, pulsing through my veins, filling the void while relieving the pain. I craved you in ways words cannot explain. You were my distraction, keeping me mentally sane. Yet my emotions still ran wild. Deep down inside, my soul craved change. I didn't know how to love me, So I expected you to do it. Craving your attention was another addiction. So high off this feeling, I didn't realize that I was missing. End poem. So that's one of the ones that I did in regard to this whole situation. And, it's so beautiful to go back and read all of the journal entries that I wrote and all the poetry and just the releasing and the purging, and to just reflect back on the me I was then and the me I am now, and just reflect on everything. Like, wow, I've come so fucking far, and it's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful in this moment. However, we're gonna shift just a little bit, and we're gonna jump back into happiness. So I know I've been talking about you being responsible for your own happiness, taking that accountability, right? I want to turn the tables a little bit and also say that you are not obligated to make anyone else happy. Anyone else's happiness is not your responsibility either, so don't obsess over how you can make someone happy, because you're doing yourself a disservice as well as them. It's everyone's own individual responsibility to discover and maintain that feeling of happiness within themselves. So don't do it to yourself. Don't drag yourself. Don't bend over backwards. None of that crazy shit. Don't be a people pleaser. Their happiness is not up to you. Because let's think about it. If somebody is intentionally or choosing to not be happy, to just, honor their sadness, or you'll have some people that really choose to be victims out here because they want what comes with being a victim, right? And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, the pity party, wanting somebody to feel sad with them, wanting somebody to just, hold their hand and feel sorry for them and just be like, oh, there are perks people get from playing the victim role. But anywho, you have those people that are stuck in that energy. Well, I don't even want to say stuck, because like I said, it's all a choice, right? But you have some people that are there in stagnant energy, and they wear it like a cape. And if you come along and you're trying to take off that person's cape, you're gonna lose every time. You're gonna play yourself. They have to be the one to do it. They have to be willing. Nothing you do or say is gonna change their mind unless they make that decision for themselves. And so don't feel obligated. Like, damn, I gotta keep trying to make this person happy. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna make yourself miserable. And then what you're gonna find out is that now you're miserable. They already been miserable. Now y'all two miserable fucking people. Right? Misery loves company. Don't allow yourself to be the company to the misery. Just be mindful of that. Pay attention. Have discernment. Right? And like I said before, it's one thing to add to someone's happiness, right? It's one thing to bring your happiness and their happiness together, and now y'all one big ass happy ball of energy. Nobody is draining the other person. It's reciprocity. You're pouring into them, they're pouring into you. You know what I mean? It's that good old goofy, feeling good vibes kind of energy. It's balanced. That's a whole different thing. As opposed to sitting here like, damn, alright, well maybe if I do this, they'll be happy. Or let me try to do this to make them happy. Or, it's like trying to figure out a puzzle and you just so happen to be the puzzle piece that don't fit, but you're trying to force yourself in that space. So it goes both ways. You're responsible for your happiness and your happiness only, and they are responsible for their happiness. And then when y'all come together, y'all can add to each other. Okay? And, I get it. When you're in a relationship, you're like, of course, you want to see your partner happy. You care about their happiness. You care about them being in a good mood. And it's little things that you may do to cheer them up. Maybe you buy them some flowers or a chocolate bar or tell a joke or do something silly, funny to get them to laugh. I get it. The little sweet things that you may do just to try to put somewhat of a smile on their face. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with that at all. I'm just saying don't allow yourself to get caught in the trap though. Because if they become codependent on you being their source of happiness, like I spoke about early on, shit, it gets real. It gets real. And eventually you're gonna become tired of being their source of happiness. And they're gonna get pissed off when you no longer choose to. And then now, you become the villain. You were once their hero because you were their source of happiness. But when you step away, or when you choose to no longer do that or be that for them, you are now the motherfucking villain. Anyway, moving on. I just had to put that out there because, as much as we love to focus on self, we also have to make sure that we are not being a crutch to somebody else and enabling them to sit in their traumas or, not encouraging them to embrace healing. So I just wanted to point that out. Remember, no matter what life brings you, no matter how strong the lemons are in your lemonade, no matter how heavy the rain is coming down on your parade, no matter how many times your bubbles have been burst, no matter how long it feels like there's been a black cloud over you, no matter how many times you ask yourself, what's next, as you sit there and wait for the other shoe to drop, no matter what life throws at you, no matter how many monkey wrenches have stopped shit from flowing, or it may seem that way, understand, know, and believe that you hold the power in your hand, in your mind, in your body to shift your frequency, your perspective, okay, to that of happiness. And if you feel like happiness is not in reach, then shift to gratitude. Begin to find things that you are grateful for. Begin to name them, write them, put it in an affirmation. Hell, make it into a mantra. Rap it, whatever you need to fucking do. Express it, and your energy will begin to shift. Gratitude is beautiful and it is powerful as fuck. So, if you're sitting there like, happiness, yeah, like, that's unreachable to me right now, that's okay. How about gratitude? Can you reach that? Can you think of one thing you're grateful for? once you think of one thing, another thing comes to mind, and another, and another. And before you know it, you have a whole list. And you'll begin to smile. And you're like, oh, the energy begins to shift. Give it a try. You have the power to change. You do. And for the things that you cannot change, release it. Let it go. Wash your hands of it. Let it fucking go. And once you let go, I promise you everything will begin to go in your favor. But as long as you hold on and you squeeze tightly and you throw your tantrums, right? And you try to go the other way and you have so much fucking resistance, life is going to mirror that back to you. And it's going to seem like it's so hard and like everything is against you. In reality, you're fighting yourself though. And you're against yourself. You're playing tug of war with yourself, with your mind, with your heart. Just let go. Surrender. Allow. Receive. Flow. Let fucking go. And while I'm talking about letting go, and then I'm going to wrap this up, release your partner, your family member, whoever it may be. Release them of the obligation to make you happy. Release them in your mind right now. Whoever is the first person that came to mind, literally say to yourself that you release them of the obligation. You release them of the need to make you happy. Because honestly, you're holding them hostage energetically. So release them. Release their energy. Like I said, release the need, the desire. Begin to shift your perspective. Release that expectation. I just had like a brief image flash of like a woman getting upset with her man because he not making her happy. And it's like her expectation led to disappointment, as they usually do. And it's like, I can hear her saying, well, you're not making me happy anymore. I wonder how many relationships break up because of that. Like, that feeling right there. Like, they're not making me happy anymore. What's truly behind that? That's what I wonder. Are you no longer benefiting from what they were once doing or saying or who they were once being? Like, what's behind them no longer making you happy? What stopped? What changed? What shifted? And were you making yourself happy in the process too? Or were you just looking forward to them doing it? Release people of the responsibilities that are not theirs. Stop creating baggage for them to carry. That's yours. Stop placing your traumas on other people's shoulders and then get upset when they give that shit back to you. Just saying. That's all I have for y'all tonight. It took me a whole day to get this done, and I still gotta go and edit because I done stopped and started again and stopped and started again. So it's like mad different chapters on here. It's like a mini book, but I gotta go and edit the music right quick. So I love y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. I'm grateful for your existence, your support, and your love, for always showing up, for pressing the play button, right? And just for vibing out with me on this journey. I don't know who's all still here from the very beginning, but thank you. I appreciate you. Y'all are dope. Remember, life is as beautiful as you allow it to be. Self-love and perspective are key. Much love, y'all. Peace.